introduce us this time?
My name is Bria. And you are?
Oh, not doing last names this time.
Oh, sorry.
It
My
just
name's...
doesn't matter. Who cares? We'll do what you want. Do what you feel comfortable doing.
I'm Bria Cando,
I'm Matthew Ryan.
and we're Pretty Pictures. We're a movie podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This week, we watched Eraserhead.
Eraserhead. David Lynch's Eraserhead. From 1977. Same year as Star Wars.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
You didn't know that?
I don't know what year things come out.
Oh. Just that year.
Whoa.
Same one.
You want to tell us about Eraserhead?
We'll both tell you about Eraserhead.
Well, you'll
We'll
tell
both
us.
tell everybody about Eraserhead.
Oh, boysies.
Don't look at my notes.
I was looking at your toes.
That's worse. Okay, so Eraserhead, 1977. Same year as Star Wars. Actually, I think it came out before Star Wars. I think Eraserhead came out in March. Star Wars comes out in May.
Wasn't David Lynch supposed to direct a Star Wars?
He was. George Lucas chose David Lynch to direct Return of the Jedi. And he didn't. And then he got Richard Marquand to direct Return of the Jedi, who hadn't really, I think at that point, didn't really do any movies. He was mostly a TV director.
Oh,
Yeah. What a movie that would have been.
what a trip.
Yeah, he didn't do it because he wanted to do Dune,
Hmm.
which, I mean,
I can just picture Kyle MacLachlan as Luke Skywalker now.
oh man, yeah, he would. Yeah, David Lynch would have just recast everybody.
All right.
All right, so last time we spent way too much time talking about behind the scenes stuff up front, so I'm gonna try and pepper it in this time.
Sounds like a good idea.
I think so. But first off the bat, I will just say Eraserhead was directed, written, and produced by David Lynch. It stars Jack Nance and Charlotte Stewart, who are both regulars in David Lynch projects, I would say.
What else is Charlotte Stewart in that Jack Nance did? That David Lynch did? I don't recognize the name.
She is Bobby's mom in Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and she's also, it's not David Lynch, but she's also Mindy's mom in Tremors. The girl on the pogo stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's in the second one as well. Maybe
Yes.
not. I don't know. She's in another. I think, maybe, no, the third one. Mindy's in the third one. So I'm assuming she is. I don't know. Tremors.
Okay. I just
Yeah.
didn't really remember her in anything.
Yeah, she's
Didn't
in that.
recognize the name.
A little bit of background on Eraserhead. It took 5 years to make because they kept running out of money and just like, I don't know, first movie blues. And at first, when it first came out, it was not popular at all. It really picked up steam as a midnight movie, which were things that were really popular back in the 70s and 80s. Basically, midnight movies are, this is just off the top of my head, what I'm assuming there are, just from what I know are midnight movies. They are mostly low budget, kind of just indie movies that, you know, they kind of out there movies. I think El Topo by Alejandro Jodorowsky was one. John Waters definitely had some of his were midnight movies, like probably before Pink Flamingos. No, probably including Pink Flamingos. You don't know anything I'm talking about.
This is going way over my head, but I do want to say, makes a lot of sense that Eraserhead would not be popular with mainstream audiences.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, midnight movies are definitely those, like, our kind of movies. At least my kind of movies. I'd assume yours as well.
Really
but
niche audience.
yeah, so they'd be like, you know, obviously they'd be screened on or around midnight, and just like probably with like double features with other weird movies. And yeah, and it was also preserved by the Library of Congress into the National Film Registry in 2004.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so that's where you know, important films get preserved in that. And so according to the Library of Congress, Eraserhead is an important enough film to be preserved.
I think it's a pretty important film.
I'd say so.
How'd we watch this sucker?
Yeah, this is something too I want to, just in case people are curious how we watched them. We watched this on my Criterion Blu-ray edition of Eraserhead, the 2014 release. We had subtitles on. We usually watch it with subtitles, especially now that you live here and there's babies crying and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a screen calibration or picture calibration on this?
Oh yeah,
Blu-ray?
yeah.
Is that just on the Criterion, or is that a normal thing for Eraserhead, or do you know?
I don't know, but knowing David Lynch, I'm sure he would have wanted, because David Lynch
would have wanted it this way.
He wants people to watch his movies in the most ideal of conditions. He doesn't want a single thing to go wrong. He wants you to watch it on the biggest screen you can, and it has to be the proper brightness and contrast and all that. It has to be perfect.
Yeah. You don't watch it on a phone.
Don't watch it on your fucking phone. So, on to the movie. Now, this time, we're probably not going to go scene by scene, point by point.
This is kind of a different movie. You can't really...
Yeah, it's not so much...
explain the plot?
Well, if you want to explain the plot, it's this couple has a baby, and then it just...
A weird-looking baby.
Don't spoil it. We'll get there.
Sweet little baby boy.
Sweet little baby something.
Mm-hmm. I had a point that I wrote way down, but then I was thinking about it. Well, I meant to write it first in the movie, but then I kind of just kept watching it, and then I was like, oh, I wrote some notes, and I was like, I should have mentioned that at the beginning. But this movie starts with a sex scene.
Yeah, very strange one. Well, before that, I just want to say that I think that this is David Lynch's most surreal project that I've seen, at least. I haven't seen all of his movies yet, and I haven't seen a lot of his short films. But in terms of at least his feature films, I'd say this is his most surreal thing that he's done up until the most recent Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Because this one's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of David Lynch's stuff, but I would say this is the most, surreal.
Yeah, it has a lot of just... It's the least straightforward, I think. Even though it's...
Of what I've seen, it's the least straightforward. I don't know...
It's the least straightforward if you just watch it as it is.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking about it. If you think about it, it's pretty straightforward. Most of the imagery.
Yeah, I think so.
So anyway, your point about the sex scene, I also have that. We have... so at the very beginning, we have Henry's head, who's played by Jack Nance.
Just Henry's head. It's played by Jack Nance.
Yeah, the rest of his body. Uncredited.
Unconfirmed.
Yeah. So he's just kind of sitting there sideways, and then a planet flies out of his head. Then we go across the planet. The camera goes along the planet's surface until we reach a house with a hole in it. We go into the hole, and we see the man in the planet. And he's cranking some gears and stuff, and he's looking out his cracked out window.
His cracked out window.
Yeah. His cracked up window, if you prefer. Then we cut back to Henry. we cut back to Henry, and a weird little ghost sperm.
This is a sperm baby. Baby sperm.
No, not that one.
Gross.
You said it.
You made it dirty.
I didn't. A baby thing comes out of his mouth.
It's a sperm.
And this is where the man on the planet uses his gears to flush the baby into a puddle, which is basically, your sex scene, your impregnation scene.
I didn't quite follow that all when we were watching it this time.
Yeah.
But now that you have it written down and explained, I understand the man in the planet a lot better. I didn't really understand what his whole deal was first.
He's making babies. He makes babies.
I think he's
He's the stork.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, he's a god type
perhaps.
figure.
Yeah. Influencing.
Yeah, kind of controlling life.
Yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, these are all just our interpretations. Not to say they're right or wrong.
How many times have you watched Eraserhead?
This was my third or fourth one.
Okay, this is my second time watching it.
Yeah.
So we've got some previous
we have
experience.
Yeah, we got some background with it.
Yeah.
And also we've watched, because I think you may have, probably didn't mention it in the Alien episode, but you did say that you've watched, this was your first David Lynch experience.
It was.
And then
It was a terrifying first experience with David Lynch. I should have started with something else.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's his first thing. I mean,
Yeah.
aside from his short films. I mean, I think it was my first
Yeah.
David Lynch thing, yeah.
The first time I watched this movie, I was not prepared. I
No.
didn't have any experience with David Lynch.
I don't think
stuff.
I didn't warn you at all. I was just like, hey,
You
let's
didn't
watch this.
prepare me,
No.
and I was like, well, that was fine. I didn't love it
Yeah.
the first time. I like it a lot more now, knowing David Lynch's stuff.
Oh, yeah. Because now
And-
we got all of Twin Peaks under our belts. I think I've watched more of his movies than you. But we both watched Dune. We both watched Mulholland Drive.
Mm-hmm.
You have
Eraserhead,
yeah,
obviously.
we've seen that. Waiting to watch Wild at Heart. Thank you, Amazon. We'll get to that soon. Hope. And yeah, but aside from those, I've seen Inland Empire.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I've seen a few of his short films. I've seen the ones that were, I think actually I've only really seen the ones that are included on the Eraserhead Criterion, which includes 6 of his short films.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you can't really get enough of them.
No.
I was gonna, like, in both ways. Like, one, you're not gonna have enough David Lynch under your belt to understand his stuff really completely, and also, you know, I just love him. I love him. Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to watch everything he's ever done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have going off of the. Be reading my notes.
I'm just looking.
Spoilers.
I watched the movie.
You didn't watch my brain work.
Oh.
So after the whole impregnation scene, we have a shot of the camera coming out of what could be presumably the puddle, just a hole in the ground. So that could imply that's the birth of the baby.
Yeah, I kind of read that as that too.
Yeah. And we see Henry walking to his apartment. And I wrote down that he's very Chaplin-esque.
Yes.
He's got a really Charlie Chaplin walk to him.
Yeah, I made a note on that too, actually. I made it later on, though.
Yeah.
That just his movements, the way he walks and holds himself,
Yeah,
are
he's
very...
classic comedy.
Yeah, they're very, like, silent film comedy type.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote that down when he lays on the bed and he kind of, like, walks his fingers across the bed before he lays down with his hands on the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My read of that was very childlike.
Yeah.
But it's at this point that I want to talk about the dead cat story. I don't know when it would have been in the movie. I think I told you about this.
Maybe?
I watched also included on the Eraserhead Criterion. It's a great value, folks. Sponsored by Criterion. Go buy that Blu-ray. It's got so much on it. I watched the included documentary, it's David Lynch talking to the camera with pictures that pop up every now and then for an hour and a half, but it's the most entertaining thing I've ever seen. And he tells the story about how he was calling. I don't know if he only called the one. I'm assuming he called more than one because, you know, you'll understand. So he's calling around vets' offices to see if they have had any recently deceased cats.
Oh.
Because he wants to put a dead cat in this movie. And
the vets called the police.
no, the vet he called just hung up right away. But then they called back 5 minutes later because somebody just brought in a dead cat.
Oh my god.
And he came and he took it. And he put it in like a jar of some kind of a preserving
like
liquid.
embalming fluid or
I guess
or
so.
like,
or something.
Okay.
And he wanted to put it in this movie. And then it was all like stiff and terrifying. And yeah, he wanted to put it in this movie somewhere. And watching it, I don't recognize it anywhere. I think there was supposed to be some point where Henry trips over it or pulls it out of some oil or something.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so that's something that I thought I'd bring up because it was interesting.
The floor of the lobby of the apartment
Oh yeah.
is the same floor as the red room.
Yeah.
Same color.
Yeah.
Or same
Pattern.
pattern.
Yeah.
And color, I guess.
Yeah,
White
he
and
likes
black
that.
and white.
He likes that.
Yes. There was something it's a YouTube video or something we had watched. And it mentions that. And I had forgotten about it, but then watching this...
Was it the Red Letter
It
Media,
was like,
the review.
maybe. I think it was something, it was like top 6 things you didn't realize
Oh,
about David
yeah,
Lynch or
one of those
something weird
shitty
like that.
things.
But
Yeah.
I had forgotten we had even watched it. And then I remembered it after I saw the floor, and I was like, oh yeah, it's the same floor as the Red Room.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of a little Easter egg, I guess.
Little hint. Yeah, this is where you see the beginning of a lot of David Lynch's style.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down. There's 3 things I wrote down. Not all. I won't go all over all of them right now. Come up as they come up. But the first thing I wrote down was Lynch timing. You get a sense of how he times his scenes, the timing of his scenes, and things that happen within them. Especially because the way that David Lynch's stuff works is that things are just off enough for them to feel weird.
Yes.
So you have Henry walking to his apartment. The
Yeah.
shots go on just long enough that it's like this is
Where the hell does this guy?
it's taking a little bit too long, but not too long that you're annoyed, but just long enough that you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then when he gets to his apartment and he opens the elevator, he gets in, the elevator doors take just a bit too long to close.
Yeah.
And then it's just a bit too long of him in the elevator. And then when he's talking to the beautiful girl across the hall, he
waits just too long to say thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I mean, I've noticed, obviously, but I never, thought about it.
Yeah.
That and just the ambient music in this, or not even ambient music, just the ambient sounds.
Yeah.
The train whistles blowing and everything in this movie.
Yeah, I wrote that too.
It's an extremely unsettling movie in parts. You're like...
It's very loud, the sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
It's uncomfortable. They're all, in this one at least, I mean, in Twin Peaks, they're all very natural sounds. Wind
Yeah.
for the trees and birds and stuff. This one, they're very industrial, unnatural sounds, machinery clanking, the hiss of his radiator, the steam from the radiator, all very unnatural sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very industrial.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Especially when he's walking through this just industrial park.
Yeah, it's like an industrial park and like a train station or something.
Yeah.
Like a...
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Another note from the Eraserhead stories. Jack Nance had his hair like that the entire time they made the movie, which I'll say again was 5 years.
Fashion.
He did not... He has his... If you haven't seen the movie, Jack Nance has his hair styled up very high, and he had his hair like that, more or less. Probably not exactly styled like that every day.
I have to assume that he styled it back or
yeah,
combed it back or something and didn't just have a high top haircut for...
yeah, but yeah, the entire 5 years that they were making it, he didn't get his hair cut at all because he was, dedicated. Or when he did get it cut, I assume he just made it the same length as it needed to be because he was dedicated getting this done and wanted everything to stay consistent. Good boy. Good man.
Good boy. Just going back to the ambiance, I guess, of the movie, the sounds, and then just that little slightly something's off kind of feeling. Henry's apartment is full of hay.
Is it?
Yes.
I never really noticed.
And dirt and branches.
Oh yeah, he's got a little... I wrote that down later, but since we see it here, I'll definitely talk about it. Yeah, he has a pile of dirt on his desk.
With some branches in it.
With branches. And I actually, once we finished the movie, I had to go and click on The Grandmother, one of the short films included, because I needed to see for sure, because I knew that it reminded me of something. And at one point, yeah, in the short film The Grandmother, there is indeed a bigger pile of dirt that something happens with.
Okay.
I'm going to say it like that because maybe it's a spoiler, maybe I don't remember.
That branches also reminded me of the...
The evolution of the arm?
Yeah.
From the new Twin Peaks, yes.
It made me think of it a lot.
Yeah.
There was something else in here that reminded me of that too.
Perhaps the baby itself?
The baby's head has the same... Baby has the same head. More or less. But yeah, his apartment is just... There's hay. There's hay in Mary's Mary's parents' house too, on their bookshelf.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
I don't know why. He's got a pile of hay on top of his dresser. And then underneath his radiator is all hay. Or grass or something.
Yeah.
Weird. And then Mary's parents' house's bookshelf has hay on it.
Interesting. Well, speaking of his apartment, Also has a I only saw it in one shot, and it was kind of blurry, but I think right beside his bed, like above on the wall, he had a small framed picture of an atomic explosion.
I saw that. You
Yeah,
can see it in a couple shots.
yeah, I only noticed it the one time near like the midway point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's also kind of like a telling of things to come with episode 8, part 8 of Twin Peaks 2017.
Yeah.
That whole episode.
Okay. Yeah.
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 So the beautiful girl across the hall tells Henry that he got a call from Mary, and he is invited over to her parents' house for dinner, so that's where he goes. And this scene is very uncomfortable because he sits down, he meets her mother, which once you realize their relationship, that's kind of weird, but I guess we don't know the specifics of their relationship, Mary and Henry's. But he meets Mary's mother for the first time, Mrs. X, and oh, by the way, Mary X, played by Charlotte Stewart. It's very uncomfortable. They sit on the couch, and Henry looks so uncomfortable and bad. And the whole time, there's this weird squeaking sound, which I thought was the setup to the next scene, but what it actually is,
Those little puppies.
there's a mama dog
Mama doggy.
feeding her pups.
Nursing some pups.
And it's really loud.
Really? Like, yeah, it's really loud. Mary's parents' house, when Henry walks up to the house, it's like, it's foggy and there's like steam coming out of a pipe somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's like vines growing all over the house. There's like vines around the house and like dead looking plants. It's just like a spooky house.
It's like a typical
yeah.
cliche
Which
horror movie house.
I guess is like Henry's going to see Mary and meet her parents, and it's like scary, so it's a spooky house type thing. Yeah.
I have my interpretation of the whole movie is very simple. I guess I'll do that at the end. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that definitely is a part of it.
Oh, also, this whole scene at the house reminds me, in like a weird way, of Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Just like the vibe of that like really weird family dinner.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And Mary's mom reminds me of the grandmother.
The mom does?
For some, yeah. Kind of. But then also the grandmother reminds me of the grandmother because she just sits there.
She just sits there.
But there's something about like when the mom is like choking at the table or whatever.
Yeah, she's doing something weird.
It reminds me of like, I don't know. It's just a weird vibe. The house is really clean and like not at all like the Resident Evil 7 house, but there's something about it that's just unsettling enough that you're like...
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some influence there.
Yeah.
So we eventually discover that there was a baby born.
It sure was.
And so Mary is being very strange and distant, and Henry's a little bit bitter towards her. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we get to this dinner, and this is the second point I would make about the beginning of Lynch's style in his feature films that we first see here, is Lynch's humor. The humor very much comes from the uncomfortableness of the meeting of Henry and Mrs. X.
Yeah.
And the whole family. The family is just very strange. And also the dinner itself, where you have Mary's dad is talking about these new man-made chickens. They're new. And they're just tiny little bite-sized chickens.
They're probably quails, right? Or like...
No, they're man-made chickens.
I know, but like they're probably quails. They're just tiny little boys.
I mean, I don't know if they're real.
Well, I mean, probably not, but like...
But yeah, you just cut them up like regular chickens.
Just like regular chickens.
And I might as well say this other one here, because it's right after it, is when I notice his lighting, Lynch's lighting, where scenes are lit, and you watch a movie, and it's like, it's supposed to be dark, but obviously there's a light source coming from somewhere because you can still see people very clearly. Mm-hmm. Lynch does that, but he does that so obviously that it is on purpose, and he has just like spotlights on people.
Yeah.
Especially evident in Twin Peaks, when scenes where people are coming from the Black Lodge and there's just a spotlight on them in the middle of the woods. Even if the woods aren't even that dark. The scene isn't dark, but there's still a huge spotlight on them. And for some reason that's creepy.
Yeah.
Because I guess it's so unnatural that there's a spotlight on these people in the middle of the woods. And here, just in the middle of a dinner table. There's like a big spotlight right on Mr. X.
Mm-hmm. Another thing too with like David Lynch's type of humor is like when you first meet Mr. X and he's talking about how he was a plumber.
Oh yeah,
And he's like
he's yelling about how
he's
he put
yelling about how he put all the
the
pipes
pipes,
in this
yeah.
town, and he starts screaming like, "Look at my knees!" or "Look at these knees!"
Yeah.
And his wife is just like, "Stop,
like
stop!"
trying to calm him down.
And like he has a very absurdist type of sense of humor
Yeah,
with a lot of things. So like just craziness
Yeah.
is
very strange. So then Mrs. X confronts Henry, and one of the creepiest lines is when she's trying to figure out if Henry and Mary had sex, because
sexual intercourse.
because there's a baby was born, but Mary says something that I find creepy every time. She says they're still not sure it is a baby. And that's so weird.
I know.
Because you don't know, and like if you're watching this for the first time, you don't know anything about it. You're just like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Is this a gremlin? Is this an animal?
Because up until this point, like, we just met Mary and her family like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And you don't know anything about Henry. You don't know anything about Mary. And then she says, they're not sure it is a baby.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what?
Why not?
What's wrong with this baby?
And yeah, the whole time Mary's very emotional. She's like, during the meeting, like when
She's
like
hysterical.
She's hysterical. She like starts like choking at one point, and her mom starts to brush her hair to calm her down. And Mrs. X asks what Henry does or something, and he says that he works. I can't even remember where he works, like a printing place.
Yeah.
And immediately Mary is fine. It's like, oh yeah, he's really good at printing.
I know.
And she's just like snaps out of it or something.
Yeah.
Almost like she has like a seizure or something.
I know. I was thinking about that. I was trying to like figure out what was going on with that. Like trying to figure out if there was a reason, like if she had some kind of an illness.
I don't know.
I think I was reading too much into it. I think she just started to freak out, and her mom was like, "Oh, I'll brush your hair, darling."
Yeah, I don't know, something. I don't know. She has a very heightened emotional state at that point. She's very fragile.
She just gave birth to a something.
A something.
To things.
Speaking of which, David Lynch will not tell anybody what that baby is made out of. We will never know.
I was gonna mention that because there's some theories that it's like
Like a fetus,
like a
cow fetus.
cow fetus, or like
I've heard like a skinned rabbit, because like people say like it looks too real. And to be fair, it does look very. It's like really gross looking.
I think I don't necessarily. I mean, it could be a cow fetus.
Well, the thing, it's very animated.
It's very animated.
Which would mean it need to have a lot of animatronics or something in it.
Yes.
You can't just like.
Yeah, it moves and stuff. You can't just cow fetuses don't move.
No, and its eyes look kind of like glassy or like fogged over. It could be real eyes, but they're also moving around.
I have a theory
What
that this movie being in black and white probably helps a lot with this.
Oh yeah.
Creature. That it's probably covered in something crazy that makes it look like a real.
Well, it looks wet.
It looks wet. It's probably covered in Jello or something.
Jello. And now.
Yeah.
So Henry.
I was just gonna say. So Mary's mom tells Henry that there's a baby, and that they can get the baby after they get married.
Yeah. So now we cut to they're in Henry's apartment. Assume they're married because they have the baby.
I love this fucking baby.
He's real good. Well, I say they're in their apartment. Mary's in the apartment taking care of this baby, and he will not eat. He's spitting everywhere, and he looks so weird and great.
I love him.
He's like a weird head wrapped in bandages. He's got his head on a pillow, and he's sitting on a dresser, a table. He's there
This
the
baby's
entire
bed
movie.
is just laying on a dresser with a pillow underneath its head.
Yeah. And I have here that we see Henry walking home again, and he stops in like a doorway. I think it might be that same big doorway that he goes through near the beginning, and he just like takes a little worm out of his pocket and like looks at it or something.
Yeah, I don't understand the worm.
I don't know. I just wrote down that he's just looking at a worm instead of taking care of his child.
I have a pretty solid grasp on most of the symbolism in this movie, I think. Like, at least my own interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Can't figure out that worm.
The worms are weird. So here I have where he's laying on the bed. He comes home and he crawls into the bed and he looks like a child.
Yeah.
And he starts staring at the radiator. And he seems really content. But then night comes. and the baby's crying all night. Mary is like cold and cruel, and Henry just tries to put his hand on her shoulder, and she shrugs it off so fast and
So
so hard,
violently.
does not want to be touched, is cranky at this whole thing.
Yeah.
So Mary gets sick of it. She leaves. This is where she's pulling her suitcase out. She's trying to yank her suitcase from under the bed, and
For
she's
like
just
a solid minute.
she's going. She can't get it.
This part reminded me of something else in Twin Peaks where she's like at the foot of the bed and she's got her hands up on the railings.
Yeah. Oh,
It
yeah.
reminds me a lot of when Bob
Yeah.
is at the base of the foot of Laura's bed, and then she starts to pull the thing, and she's still got her hand up, and she's kind of like jiggling the frame, and it's more funny, I guess. But there's a spooky kind of.
Well, it could be spooky because you make that connection.
That's probably
because
what it is.
That shot of Bob is really creepy.
It is, and I think just the like where it's very similar.
Oh yeah.
Looking, it's yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling David probably liked that shot, and he's like, "Let's use that again."
Oh yeah.
So Henry takes the baby's temperature, and everything seems fine. And then he turns around and turns back.
Solid temperature of 80.
Of 80. Is that good?
I think that's low.
Yeah.
Maybe not for a baby.
I don't know.
I can't remember off the top of my head what
they're
a
not
baby's
sure it is a
temperature is
baby.
supposed to be. Yeah, that's true.
But then he turns back, and then the baby's all full of weird sores or something.
Pustules.
And that really felt to me like, if you remember, I can't think of anything particular in Twin Peaks except for maybe that same scene. But definitely the part in Mulholland Drive where the two people are in the diner and the guy's talking about his weird dream. We saw this guy at the back of the Winkies.
Okay.
And then they go out back, and then that old man is there, and it scares the crap out of the guy.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that scene?
No.
Anyway, well, that's just an example I thought of because it's kind of like a proto Lynchian jump scare because his jump scares are very different. Where like
it's almost more the characters reacting to the.
Yeah, it's not so much. Yeah, you're right. It's not so much that we're supposed. I mean, that's maybe why it's unsettling because it's not trying to be super scary because it lasts so long. It lingers. Because like that scene with the guy behind Winkies, it's in the middle of the day and he just comes out and there's a sting. There's a music sting. But yeah, then it just kind of fades out and the sound fades out, like the characters, because this guy, like the guy who had the dream and was telling his partner about it, it looks like he's screaming, but there's no sound because like it's faded out. And it just lingers on his reaction. And the same with the vision of Bob. Because it's Sarah Palmer who has that vision of Bob on Laura's bed. And it just like lingers on Bob for a little bit. And then it's Sarah's reaction. That's the scary part, I guess.
Yeah.
This one, not quite there yet. But you see the baby and it's gross and weird. And then maybe it's the lack of reaction because Henry just says, "Oh, you are sick." Like he barely reacts to it in any kind of way you would assume from that shot because it's a close-up. It's almost like a Ren and Stimpy SpongeBob gross-up close-up.
Oh yeah.
And it has like the sting and then it just cuts to Henry and he's just like turning around. He's like, "Oh, you are sick."
Yeah,
so
just like no reaction. It's like, "Oh, my baby's sick."
Yeah.
It's like the baby just like puked on itself. And
Yeah,
like,
something like that.
We'll clean you up. We'll get you on your way. Like
yeah. So I'm not sure it was how much of a jump scare or Lynchian jump scare it was supposed to be, but I did feel kind of like it was a proto version,
just an unsettled type of
yeah.
Yeah.
It was at this point that I just wrote down the Woody Woodpecker story because I don't know when we'd put it in. It's not technically related. Yeah, it's not technically related to Eraserhead. It happened. It's in the Eraserhead stories. I can't remember exactly when it happened. I think it had to have happened during the production because the story was there's a trailer or a setup for Eraserhead. Right. David Lynch asking people to please watch Eraserhead. It's my very good movie. Thank you. And he's sitting on a couch and he has five Woody Woodpecker dolls sitting on either side of him. He has surrounded by Woody Woodpecker dolls.
He has two on his right.
He's flanked by Woody
on his left.
And so the story about this is he was driving down the highway and he passes by a gas station and he sees in the window
5 Woody
these
Woodpecker
5
dolls.
Woody Woodpecker dolls, and he screeches to a halt and whips around and goes and rescues them. His words. He rescues these dolls, and would you like to tell them their names?
Chucko, Buster, Pete, Bob, and Dan.
Those are the names of his woodpeckers. He made this little promotional video for them.
He introduces them all by name.
He does.
I'm here with my boys.
My boys, his boys.
My boys and I would like to tell you to watch Eraserhead, my very good movie.
And then, at some point in an interview, he states that he had a falling out with these boys, and that's another thing we'll probably never know. What happened between David Lynch and these 5 Woody Woodpecker dolls?
They had a falling out. We'll
never
know.
We'll never know.
That was a little aside, I guess.
I had to say it, and I didn't know when we were going to put it in, so that's where it goes.
Okay.
So, at this point, Henry's just trying to live his life. He's trying to leave. He can't, because every time he goes near the door, the baby starts crying. And then he literally sits down in front of the baby and just is watching over it. And he's like a new parent who is, I guess, not so much worried, but just
He's accepted his role.
He can't leave this sick baby. And he's just literally sitting there watching over it, hovering over this baby. I just thought I'd point that out.
Yeah. He's laying in bed?
I can't remember.
Laying in bed for the night, or is he sitting on the bed?
I don't remember. He might be sitting on the bed.
I can't remember. And he looks into the radiator, or looks at the radiator, and there's this girl.
There's a stage.
In the
The lights
radiator.
come on.
Yeah, and there's a girl on the stage. She's got big cheeks.
Big weird cheeks.
Paper mache cheeks. I can't figure that out.
I don't know. It just looks weird.
Yeah. And she does a dance.
She does a dance.
What was the name of the song?
The song is called Stompin' the Bug.
Stompin' the Bug. And it's basically just her walking back and forth with tiny little steps. And then some more of those spermy wormies start falling on her.
Yep.
And first she's avoiding them.
She's kind of looking at them and she's like, ooh, what are these?
Yeah. And she avoids them first, but then after the song is finished, she starts to squish them. And I kind of was trying to figure that out. I kind of understood. Like, either it's Henry wishing he could undo.
That's exactly what I had.
Or wanting to prevent it from happening again. One of the two.
Yeah, I had the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering if we'd have similar reads in this, and I guess we do.
And did you have anything else about that?
I had a couple of, I had, the one point I had is that the lady in the radiator seems to represent Harry's hopes or wishes or dreams of some sort. Because the couple times we see her, it seems to be related to something that Henry wants or wishes, maybe. And also, she was the first thing that I really noticed. And I noticed a few things that happened before that, but she really also kind of had that kind of Americana look that David Lynch is always going for. She kind of looks like 50s-ish.
Oh, like
with her dress and her hair.
Yeah, like the really like
Yeah.
voluminous hair.
Yeah.
And
the dress too.
The dress.
Yeah, because that's the thing that David Lynch really loves, the 50s and 60s. You can tell.
Yeah.
From especially like Twin Peaks. And I did see not so much about it in here, but definitely this, because you have like, and not like, you know, real Americana, but like David Lynch Americana, because you have like the working class dad who's like wearing his uniform to suffer, and the exes, the grandma, she's like, they just like put a smoke in her mouth, and it's like really kind of, you know, I don't know how to describe it.
The grandma is interesting, because like going back to the dinner for a second, like the mother puts the salad dressing on the salad, puts the bowl in the grandmother's lap, takes the grandmother's hands, and makes her mix the salad.
Just so she's part of the
and then
process.
Like takes the bowl, puts it on the table,
and then puts
the smoke in grandma's mouth. Like, it's just Yeah.
Grandma, she's still part of the family.
Yeah, she's still contributing.
Yeah.
After the lady in the radiator, there is a scene, like, Henry wakes up. Mary is, like, on Henry, basically, like, just, like, in his space while they're sleeping, and she keeps clacking her teeth together.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable.
And
she's, like, really sweaty.
Yeah, in her sleep, she's clacking her teeth together, and she's really sweaty. And then he keeps telling her to move over.
Move out of his room. Move away.
And then he starts pulling those spermy wormies again.
Yeah.
Out of her? Off of her?
Oh, wait, I don't know. Just in her general direction.
Yeah, so I kind of read that as, like, wanting to be able to undo it. And
yeah, more of that.
Yeah, the same kind of thing as the squishing in the radiator. Just, like, trying to not kind of undo it, prevent it from happening again, kind of.
Yeah. Also, I couldn't help but think that the way that she was acting was, like, maybe she was trying to get him annoyed with her to, like, kick her out or something so she wouldn't have to deal with the baby at all, rather than her leave on her own.
Yeah, maybe. It almost... I read it more, like, with the way she was acting then, like, it was, like, a subconscious thing, like, she wasn't trying to do it,
Yeah, that's
but it was, like, because she seemed to be asleep, but she was clacking her teeth together in her sleep, and, like, sweating and on top of him, like, in his way, kind of. And,
yeah.
So maybe subconscious type
Maybe.
actions, yeah.
And this is where the weird stop-motion worm comes from. And he's rolling around, and then I guess it looks like he goes on the planet.
Yeah, I think... I don't understand the worm. I'm wondering if it's maybe, like, his life before the life he's used to kind of symbolism.
Maybe.
Because, like, he's looking at it sadly
Yeah.
before going through the door to his apartment. Then he puts it away.
And there's also a point really early on where he, like, puts it in, like, a little cabinet. Yeah. So yeah, that could be, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of question marks at the end of these statements as well.
Yeah, it's really just our interpretation. It's not a concrete... Nobody knows what this movie's about. Sometimes I wonder if David Lynch knows what these movies are about, so...
I think he's just having some fun with it.
He has a very particular style that it's hard to tell if, like, is he doing it for the look of it? Or is he doing it because it means something in his brain?
Yeah. And not just, like, you say the look. It's not just, like, does this look like it means something? Literally, does it look nice?
Yeah, like...
Is what you mean, and what he does
like, I
it
think
for.
of, like, the episode... Is it episode 8 of Twin Peaks Return? With all the... It looks like a visualizer.
Yeah. It's,
like an iTunes visualizer. The whole episode is basically an iTunes visualizer, except for, like, the first 10 minutes.
And it's 15
minutes.
It gets to when it goes to 1960.
Yeah.
Like, when it shows young Sarah.
Yeah, so, like...
But yeah, the majority of, like, half the episode
Yeah, so it's like...
is visual. Just stuff.
This looks great. Does it mean something? Or is it just because it looks good?
Yeah.
Either way, I like what he does, but
oh yeah,
I can't understand sometimes if... I think I want there to be more meaning behind the stuff he does than what there actually is sometimes.
Well, until we did this, I was ready to just watch Eraserhead for the rest of my life. Just like, oh yeah, it's just, it's weird stuff. Yeah. I am, as much as I want to be, I'm not, I don't have a very, like, artistically, like, detailed mind. Like, I can't, like, watch things and, like,
you take a lot
analyze
of it
them
at face value.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can watch a movie like I could watch David Lynch's stuff. I could watch smart, quote unquote, art house movies, and watch them and, like, appreciate just the visuals, and, like, I can know that there's something there, and it's just, like, I'm fine with not understanding it. Like, I've watched 3 of Alejandro Jodorowsky's movies. I watched El Topo, The Holy Mountain, and Santa Sangre. I don't understand anything about those movies, but they look nice and they're weird, and I enjoyed watching them.
See, I'm the exact opposite.
Oh god, yeah.
Because, like, I watch Eraserhead and I'm like, okay, so I think this means this, and this is supposed to symbolize this.
I mean, I have fun doing that. I like doing it. I don't need to.
I have to. Like, I mean, I can still appreciate the movie for, like, the art and just, like, the imagery.
Yeah.
But I want to know why it's there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I get that. I understand completely. But yeah. I mean, for some, I use that as an argument when I watch a movie that I don't like, and I'm like, what the hell does this mean? What's this there for? But if it was a good movie, I wouldn't care. I'm a little hypocritical like that. But, won't name any names. So now at this point, the beautiful girl from across the hall comes, knocks on Henry's door, says she forgot her key. She's locked out of her apartment. Can she spend the night there? She's coming on to him.
Hard.
Oh, yeah. And so it cuts to them. They're making out in a weird milk bath bed.
Yeah, it looks like a hot spring, but it's part of his bed.
Yeah. And the baby, she keeps like looking at the baby and like he's trying to get her to like, don't worry about that. So that's weird. We see the lady in the radiator again after they sink into their little
Sex
tub.
bath.
Yeah. And we go to the lady in the radiator again on her stage, and this time she's singing In Heaven. Side note, In Heaven the lyrics were written by Peter Ivers, and he, along with, sadly, Jack Nance, they both died. Pete Ivers was murdered, mysteriously. His murder was never solved. And Jack Nance died mysteriously. And we're still not completely sure about how that was solved. Although if you ask Michael J. Anderson, the man from another place, he would say that David Lynch ordered Jack Nance's murder or assassination, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But he's a crazy man, apparently now, so...
So it would seem. Do you remember the words to that In Heaven song off the top of your head?
In heaven, everything is fine.
Uh-huh.
That repeats.
I remember that.
You've got yours and I've got mine. But then when she goes and sings it again, she says, you've got yours and you've got mine. Do you take any significance from that?
I don't. I have a note in my notebook there. In Heaven song, and then the next little bit.
Yeah.
I can't figure out what that means.
Yeah.
If you want to explain the next little bit, I can discuss that further.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just going to say that with the lyrics, is it reassuring? Because, again, if we go off the basis that the lady in the radiator is representing Henry's hopes or dreams or wishes, is the song literal? Is he thinking, I'll die, I'll get to heaven, and everything will be fine? Or is it just, eventually things will work out. Things will be fine in a bit.
Yeah.
So it could be one of those two. I'm not quite sure which I think.
I have a thought on that, but I want to save it for the end.
Oh, yeah.
Because it goes with the end of the movie.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
With what I'm thinking. Okay.
So then after her little song, we have a lot of weird stuff happening. Henry's there. They wheel out a bigger version of his dirt pile with a stick on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then he hides away from that.
That was what I thought. That reminded me of the
evolution
of the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was the dirt pile on the stage with the
On
red
the stage.
curtain?
Yeah, oh god,
the
yeah.
curtains.
Yeah.
You can't tell they're red, but they're probably red.
Probably.
And then the floor is black and white, but it's checkered pattern.
Well,
But yeah. I was like,
Didn't think of that. That's gotta
Yeah.
be on purpose. Especially because Jack is wearing a black and white suit, and then in the scene you have Cooper with his suit on. So it's very similar imagery.
I think
cinematic parallels.
a lot of it is just David Lynch likes what he likes.
He does, yeah.
He likes these color combinations. He likes these patterns.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure
You can tell.
I'm sure we'll talk about other David Lynch movies, so I don't want to do a whole bunch of his stuff, because especially with stuff that's not in this. But he doubles the same actor playing different character. He loves that.
Yeah.
That's in like everything he's done almost. And it's stuff we've already mentioned, obviously.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Henry is like hiding behind something. He's like twirling a rod, making some noises, and then his head pops off, and the baby comes out of his neck, and I think that could be probably symbolism for the baby's taken over his life.
Taken over his life, I think.
Or has the potential to take over his life.
You see a little bit later on too when he's in the hallway and the pretty girl from across the hall the beautiful girl from across the hall is standing outside her door with another guy
with a weird looking man.
He's looking at her and she's looking at him, and she just sees the baby head. So it's kind of like he's this baby's dad. That's all he is. He's the baby.
Yeah, especially
it's
because
all he's got right now.
Especially because with all that, because you go from this scene where his head falls off, and then it falls through something, and then it's in
Portal.
the industrial area, and a kid runs, picks it up, takes it to a factory, hands it to these people. They drill out some of his head, and it gets made into an eraser for a pencil. Hence the title of the film, Eraserhead. All that happens consecutively. So the beautiful girl from across the hall comes in, they make out, fall into the sex pool, the lady in the radiator, then the Eraserhead scene. All that happens subsequently. And so I'm thinking that it was all a dream. It was all in his head. So when you do see, like you were saying, you do see the beautiful girl at her door with the other man, and Henry opens the door and sees her, and she's giving him like a weird look, like, what are you looking at? Mind your own business. So I'm thinking like he just like wished that he could have her. She's like,
Yeah.
not maybe not the
Okay.
ideal woman, but just like better woman than he just wants someone who will be with him,
Yeah.
intimate.
Because him and
'Cause
his
Mary,
wife
yeah.
aren't getting along.
You know, Mary's like gone, I think, for the rest
Mary's
of the movie.
gone. Yeah, I don't think you see Mary again after. I think the last time you see Mary is when he's pulling those worms off her or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, and there's a point where Henry tries to knock on the. Well, he does. He knocks on the beautiful girl's door, and he gets no response, and he slinks back to his room, and the baby starts like laughing at him.
Yeah.
Like laughing, like you can't get her, you can't have her.
Yeah. You got me.
What do you think?
You're
Yeah,
stuck with me.
You're stuck with me.
Yeah, the baby is. I interpreted as laughing too.
Hmm.
The subtitle said he was screeching or whining,
Yeah, or like gagging and stuff.
gagging or something. Yeah.
It's he's laughing.
I think he's
laughing,
laughing.
folks. Now this is when I guess Henry gets fed up with him. He goes up, takes a pair of scissors, goes up to him, starts cutting his weird bandages. They flop open, and it's weird guts, weird organs.
Weird guts. I think that those organs are real organs. I don't know if I think that the head is necessarily
I don't think so.
a real head,
No.
but I think the organs are real. They look really
I mean, yeah, you could just.
squishy.
I was gonna say you could just buy those at like a butcher shop, but they're kind of small, and also they look like lungs. I don't know.
I'd be curious to know what they made them with if they're not real,
Hmm.
because I do think that.
But
they're-
like you said, black and white. They
Yeah.
they could look more real
just
in black and white.
when he's like, they look
Just when they're like breathing.
real. I
Yeah.
don't know. They just look really real.
Well, I mean, if they're not, then good job.
The cat.
Oh no.
Oh my god! Do you think David Lynch took the guts out of a cat
I
for the
don't-
inside of this thing?
Maybe that's why he won't tell anybody. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he'd do that. I don't think so.
Interesting. Things to think about.
So, I guess Henry he stabs the baby's weird organs, and to like free himself from the baby. I guess. I guess he doesn't know that that's illegal. It would just make him less free.
I mean, people freak out and do stuff, and then
That's
they go,
yeah,
"Oh,
that's true.
crap."
This is my note. I'm just gonna read it right off the page. I wrote nasty guts, very gross, disturbing death, choking and whimpering, gross. Oh no, sorry, gross mashed potatoes pouring out of the organs because he stabs it,
Oh yeah.
and then some weird. I say mashed potatoes because that's what I see in my mind, but it's a lot more.
grainy.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's a lot more oatmeal-y.
Yeah, I said that. I thought that when I was watching the movie, but I just put mashed potatoes because that's always what I think of when I think of that scene. But yeah, it does look more like oatmeal.
But like oatmeal with some substance. Like
Yeah.
Some
Oh yeah,
maybe
thick oatmeal.
maybe mashed potatoes mixed with oatmeal.
True, very possible.
David Lynch will never tell.
He will never know. So it's at this point when the baby is dying, and its neck is stretching. I think that's just for the look of it.
I think so.
But also, the lights are flickering on and off, and an electrical outlet is sparking. And also, you have the planet cracks open, and you see the man on the planet, and his machine is like the cranks that he's pulling; those start sparking. And the thing with the lights and electricity, that's also a David Lynch thing. It's very much in Twin Peaks,
Yes.
and well, a lot of in the Twin Peaks: The Return, with especially like the electrical outlets.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
David Lynch uses a lot of electricity
He
type
does.
things. Even in like their what's it called?
What?
Their title card, not the title card. Their the David
Oh,
Lynch
the
and
splash
Mark
screen,
Frost,
the
spr-
Rancho Rosa? Or no, yeah,
No.
no, the David
David Lynch
the,
and the Lynch,
the Lynch
and-
Frost Productions.
Lynch Frost Productions. It's like the
Oh yeah. He
lightning
likes that
type.
stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot of that in his short films, from what I've seen, like little bits of. But yeah, definitely in Twin Peaks and all that. I don't really know what it signifies. Death,
the lightning.
danger, the lightings and stuff.
I guess.
In this one, at least.
Yeah.
Probably in Twin Peaks as well for the most part. There also is that scene in Mulholland Drive with the cowboy. I can't remember the exact context of the scene, but there's the cowboy that comes, and that's actually the opposite. Is when he comes into the scene, the lights turn on, and when he leaves, they go out. So kind of the opposite of what he usually does with lights. Not really relevant, just kind of relevant, but interesting.
Observation.
Yeah. I don't know what the man on the planet's machine breaking really signifies. Do you anything on that? No?
Well, I just think, I don't know. I didn't really write anything about that.
No. One of the last things you see is the lady in the radiator embracing Henry in a white void, which, I mean, from the song and from what our interpretation of the lady is he dead? Is he in heaven?
I think he killed himself.
Yeah? I mean, it could be. I just feel like that's... To me, that doesn't feel right.
Him killing himself seems, I don't know, obvious or lazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, he's like a timid guy. He's like really kind of, I don't know. I don't...
Really meek, mild kind of personality.
I don't think...
I don't know.
No. I mean, who does?
I know. Part of me thinks that he did.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the the obvious picture you get.
Because with like the Heaven song, and then he kills the baby, the sparks and stuff is like danger. He like realizes like what he did, and then
because
kind of get the impression that like he kills himself.
Well, because after he stabs the baby, he kind of like recoils, like what have I done?
Yeah, and then like with the Man on the Planet's machine breaking, it's kind of like his life is kind of maybe the Man on the Planet is less.
It's just kind of in control of his life, Henry's life.
Not so much
everybody's.
So maybe less of like
especially
God,
and
especially
more
just like in control of Henry.
Yeah, especially because at the beginning where you have the planet comes out of Henry's head. So yeah, the man's controls breaking. Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks.
Cracked the code. That's what I'm saying. I'm sticking with it.
All right.
Henry kills himself at the end, or dies.
Dies somehow.
I think so.
All right. So I guess that's what we're going with.
Man, I feel smart.
you figured out Eraserhead.
Cracked the code.
But yeah, so my whole summary, ignoring all the symbol, not ignoring it, but just distilling it to what it should be. Or what it might mean is that a man gets his girlfriend pregnant, meets her parents. They decide you got to get married. The woman can't handle it. She leaves. And the man kills the baby because he can't handle it either. Yeah. And then maybe dies. So that's
kind of my interpretation. Just it's a guy trying to
deal with being a new father.
Being a new father.
With a baby that probably has something wrong with it.
I don't think that the baby necessarily has something wrong with it. I think that the way he looks is more of a visualization for just
how scary it is.
Not knowing what you're doing, not knowing how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Basically having an alien in your home because you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that the baby looking the way it does is more symbolic.
Yeah, but you mean symbolic of just strangeness, not symbolic of
illness necessarily,
an illness or a defect, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's just that the he doesn't know what to do with this baby. He doesn't know how to take care of a baby. They have the baby on a table, like
on a pillow on a table.
Yeah, like I don't think that that's.
Yeah.
I think that that's because they don't know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and so now just talking quick few notes about the credits. First of all, Jack Nance credited as John Nance.
Yeah, I didn't notice that the first time, but I didn't know who Jack Nance was the first time.
That's true, yeah.
I knew of him, but not enough to realize.
Yeah. Also, in the credits, we have Catherine Coulson, who was just the assistant to David Lynch in this film, but she went on to play the log lady in Twin Peaks. We have Peggy Lynch and Jennifer Lynch, David's ex-wife and daughter. They were both in the film. Peggy also helped with the production. And of course, you have Sissy Spacek.
Oh, yes, you were going to tell me.
In a special thanks. And that's because she was married to Jack Fisk, who played the Man on the Planet.
Okay.
And they helped, they donated some money when production was kind of halted because of budgetary issues. And so she's given a thanks because she helped.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Sissy Spacek.
Thanks, Sissy. So
without you, we wouldn't have Eraserhead.
That's true.
And if we didn't have Eraserhead, we might not have any of John Lynch.
John Lynch. That's his dad.
Might not have any David Lynch stuff.
Yeah.
If we didn't get started with Eraserhead.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Mm. Can you imagine? No Twin Peaks.
Sad.
Mm.
Yes. The first time I watched this movie,
Mm.
I enjoyed it. Didn't really understand.
Yeah.
Wasn't mentally prepared for it. But on second watch, I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
Especially now that I knew kind of what to expect.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I didn't remember seeing before
Mm.
from the first one, and like a lot of little nuggets of stuff.
Yeah. Well, this time, I mean, just since, like, because not many connections that to the original Twin Peaks, but I found, like, since watching The Return and now watching this, there's actually a lot of similarities to stuff that's in The Return to stuff that's in Eraserhead.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Never would have.
Kind of revisits it a lot
Yeah.
with this new series.
Go back to his roots.
Hmm.
Especially because he had, free reign to do whatever the hell he wanted for The Return, which I'm grateful for. Thank you, Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
Now we just need another season. That'd be great. And so I guess that's all we have to say about Eraserhead.
Yes.
Do we have any recommendations this episode?
I'm going to recommend just watching
We should probably rate it. Let's give it a rating.
Rating?
Yeah.
We rated the last one, didn't we?
We did. You know what? We'll give this one a 5 out of 5 as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 too.
There you go. So go watch Eraserhead.
Go watch Eraserhead.
Get it at your
Also,
Redbox.
If you like David Lynch and you for some reason haven't watched the new season of Twin Peaks, do that.
Yeah. I mean,
and if you
preferably watch it all. I mean, it's rock good.
Just watch Twin Peaks. It's
Just
really
watch
good.
Twin Peaks.
Mm.
This has been our Twin Peaks review. Hope you enjoyed it.
David Lynch cast.
Oh man, that'd be good.
Wouldn't it?
There probably is one already.
There's gotta be
I'd have to assume
somewhere.
So yeah. Anyway, recommendations aside from Eraserhead, is something that's non-David Lynch, perhaps, if anything. Something we've watched recently. Something. I was gonna say something you've watched recently. I don't think you have a lot of free time to watch anything on your own now.
Not much.
It's mostly stuff you're watching with me. So,
Recommendations.
recommend anything? Yeah. Anything we've seen recently you want to
Under the Skin.
Under the Skin.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. Very good. It's got kind of a spooky, unsettling
Oh, yeah.
kind of vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, oh, man, really good. It was on Mubi when we watched it, but it's not now, so
Yeah.
sorry. It might be on, I don't know if it's on the American Netflix. It could be. Check there if you're American or not.
Is it not on Netflix anymore? Canadian Netflix?
No.
Oh.
I have it on DVD. You want to come to my house and watch it?
Got it from the dollar store.
Got it from the dollar store. It's good,
Goodbye.
good find.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would also recommend that, but I'm just so we have more than one. I guess. Well, more than we've recommended a lot actually. I'm gonna recommend Ex Machina by Alex Garland. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna say Annihilation.
Oh,
We watched that a while ago.
we did.
I'll watch Ex Machina too, but I liked a lot.
Let's just recommend every movie you've ever watched. How about that?
Just go to my Letterboxd. I liked a lot.
Annihilation.
I really liked Annihilation. Ex Machina is good too, but I think Annihilation actually has a pretty similar-ish vibe to Under the Skin. Not completely, but it's got that kind of... It has more of the same kind of sci-fi, weird alien vibe to it.
As Under the Skin?
As Under the Skin, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll say that.
Yeah. I also really liked the score
Oh,
for Under the
God.
Skin
And Annihilation.
and Annihilation. They both had
They
really
both
good
had
scores.
really good scores.
Their scores weren't done by the same...
I
Was it the same?
don't think so. Ex Machina and Annihilation had the same
Okay.
composer, but I don't think Under the Skin did.
I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, the score for Under the Skin was very, very good. A lot of, like, droning,
Yeah.
synthy type sounds that I'm a really big fan of.
Yeah, dude. That's what I like too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your recommendations.
There you go. Did we figure out an outro?
Oh, hell no.
There you go.
I don't think that's it. I mean, last time we ended with see you next time and bye-bye.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
You didn't like that.
No. I thought maybe I did for a second there, but... Why is it so hard to think of an outro?
I mean, we don't need one.
No,
We could just
but-
say bye, see you next time.
See you next time.
So, hope you enjoyed this episode.
I did. I liked making it.
It's really
I really
fun.
liked this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't as nervous with this one. Yeah, we got right into it. We're professional.
Yeah.
In and out. We're doing it. We'll be back sometime.
Sometime?
We'll figure out
I think every 2 weeks.
that's probably how we're doing it.
Sounds like a pretty good. I'm a busy lady.
That's
I
true.
have a
I'm
lot
not.
of studying to do.
I'm not either of those.
Nursing school is hard. Actually, it's not that hard, but it's
It's a lot.
busy.
It's a lot of work. So yeah, we don't know what we're doing next time. We'll figure it out. It'll be something good.
Yeah.
From now on, we're going to try for the first handful of episodes until we get really comfortable. We're going to be doing movies that we've seen before and that we really like. Maybe some we really like but aren't good. But you know,
yeah.
we'll definitely. Eventually, we might do some newer movies. We are planning to see The Predator. I hope. I don't know if we'll do an episode about it. It's a bit too soon.
Hard to take notes in the theater too.
That's true.
We watch it in the theater.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll definitely do. Yeah, we'll figure out. We have plenty of movies. Not so much movies that need any more takes on. We have.
I think that
We have, but you know, just ones we like. Get off our backs.
it's aggressive.
We like what we like.
Be nice of them.
I don't care. They're not listening yet. Nobody's here. Shouting into the void.
Okay. But movies we like, movies we don't. Well, we
Movie
like but are not good.
Yeah, one in particular, I guess, at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess that'll be it for this time.
that's all for now.
Let's see ya and
Bye-bye.
fuck.
See ya and fuck.
I don't know. I've made it sound like we were gonna do an outro, but we're really not.
See ya and bye-bye.
See you next time and bye bye.
See you next time and bye-bye.
Yeah, or I could just like be fading this out as we speak, and you don't even.
There you go. See you next time.
It's fading into the theme, the end theme.
Da, da, da.
We probably are. I probably already ended it.
You've cut this on
I've cut
already.
It's gone.
Okay.
See you.
See ya.